Megavashni, kindly proceed.
Okay, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone had a good lunch and enjoyed the morning session. Do you know the sharing best practices is one of the great ways of instigating a learning environment? The best practices is shared through knowledge sharing tools and social media networks and lots others. Now we are going to have a discussion on best practices during COVID-19 by three NGOs which we have picked for the explanatory work they carried out. The session will be moderated by Dr. Emmanuel Daniel, faculty, Kumarguru School of Social Work. Let's learn together. Over to Emmanuel, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Megavashni. And dear participants, it was nice, from the morning we've been learning a lot about digitalized approaches, new innovative approaches in digitalization, and fundraising in digitalization, donor management in digitalization, community services in digitalization, and a lot of things. I'm sure that you would have enjoyed all the sessions. This afternoon, we are going to have a special session, which is sharing of best practices. So there were many NGOs, but we thought it will be more meaningful for these three NGOs to share their best practices. So I'm going to introduce those three organizations to you. The first organization is IJM. IJM is an organization who works for the bonded laborers. So it's again an international organization, and we have a person from IJM. And the second organization is Helix, and I'm sure that many of you would be knowing Helix. And I know Helix maybe from the time when I was studying in PSG. And for if you ask a person who studied in PSG, for many of them, it is Dr. Sindel from Helix is the role model for them. And let's not forget that Dr. Sindel is also a world record holder. So there are many organizations who carried out different approaches, different strategies in reaching out to the community. And Dr. Sendil has also made a world record. So that is something really interesting to know. I'm sure I really wish that Dr. Sendil could highlight at least few things about that world record during his presentation. And the third organization is UDIS. And I am acquainted with UDIS from the time when I was in Bishop Appasamy College. UDIS, an organization working in the field of disability management. And for your kind information, Dr. Kalpana Prakash, who's the head School of Social Work class, worked in UDIS, and she has got her foundation from UDIS. Okay, so these are the three organizations which we have picked for this session. So I'm sure that we will definitely learn all best practices, and we would also try to implement those in our organizations. Okay, so I would first request IJM to present um, what was their plan, strategies, and so on and so forth for 10 minutes. So each organization will be presenting for 10 minutes, which means 30 minutes will be listening to them. And post that, if you have any questions, you can sort of put it in the chat box, or you want to open the mic and speak, please feel free to do so. Even if you want to ask questions in Tamil, தயவு செய்து நீங்க கேளுங்க, ஒன்னும் பிரச்சனை கிடையாது. We can take up questions. Okay, so over to IJM. Mr. Ezekiel, over to you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Emmanuel. It was good to know about your webinar, and yeah, so Prezi was a point person with you, and we came to know about your requirement. So we really looking forward for this wonderful opportunity that you have given us. So I'll just share my screen. You can just let me know if my screen is visible. Can you just give a heads up so that I know that my screen is visible? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I'm Ezekiel. I am the monitoring and evaluation guy with IJM. So as you all would have known about International Justice Mission, so it's a global organization, and in India we work with several governments, both on the state level and the central level. So in terms of our area of work, we work with bonded labor and sexual exploitation of minors, and we are privileged to partner with government agencies and organizations in this fight. So, and also in this fight to protect the poor and vulnerable and oppressed. So it's a great opportunity that IJM is able to work for a very vulnerable group in India. And specifically speaking, I belong to the Bangalore office here in India. So my role is mainly on the management information system. When I heard about this topic of digitalization, so I was able to go through some of the sessions, a few sessions in the morning. So I was able to have an idea of what World Vision was sharing. And personally speaking, I started my career with World Vision, and then I was with Compassion International, and now I am with IJM. So I have an experience of around 15 years in the development sector. And speaking about project management and information system and how digitalization helps, that is like a vast area of a topic. And I would just like to talk about a few best practices that IGM is practicing in our in the field of project management information system. So just to give a brief, looking back in around 2004, that is when I completed my master's in social work with Madras Christian College. So as students, we were doing our study trip to uh, and we were going on a train, and then that's when I remember we wanted to do a small survey on the train. So I still remember how we used to do that survey. We just went by seat, and our students started talking with each of the passengers, and we took our paper and pen and we started writing. First, we framed a questionnaire, and then we started writing the questions. And then, as and when we go and talk with our passengers, we used to tick the options and come back and sit manually and work out on a sheet, and then take down all the answers and do all the coding and other stuff. So I still remember we didn't even use an Excel sheet for analyzing the data. So way after that, now what we can see is technology has grown a lot during this time. And if I have to show you a small simple data, uh, the Global NGO Technology Report of 2019 says that NGOs worldwide have increased their technology investments in 2019 by 51%. So there is a very big investment that NGOs have been done, because if you look at corporate sector is mostly they invest on technology. They depend upon technology. They depend upon software. They depend upon data a lot. But if you look at the last 5 years of time, NGOs are looking forward for investing more of the money into this technology, and in terms of using the data in a very productive way. And if you look at the importance of project management information system, we all know that NGOs do a lot of work in terms of our field work, and in terms of working with our beneficiaries, in terms of the support that we give for the beneficiaries. So I would like to just give a brief about what is the importance and why digitalization of data is very important for us. So if you look at our work, all NGOs work with different types of beneficiaries, different types of groups that we work with, and we all try to bring justice to them. And this is a very important work that we do for the people. And then the other side of the whole work is like we also want it to be visible. So visibility is something we have to look at, because visibility gives us an idea of what we are doing to our donors, in terms of getting volunteers, in terms of raising our funds, and in terms of how we can enlarge our kind of organization in terms of our work. And then if you look at digitalization of data, data is very important, as I said before. So most of our work depends upon data. So when we do a simple program of awareness or even a distribution, we need to look at like what are all the things that we have done during the particular program. So maybe if you are distributing to a particular group of people, you need to track their like how many people received it, what is the cost of each and every benefit that has been received by the beneficiaries. And this is very much required from the donor's point of view also, in terms of reporting to them and in terms of monitoring and evaluation practice also. So when you look at accessible from anywhere, anytime with multi-users, nowadays data has been like something they also tell like data is the next oil. So that's what the corporates say. So data is very important. So what happens is people try to access it from different parts of the world. If you look at your headquarters will be located somewhere in US and you work in a field in Africa or in India, you always try to get the data accessible so fast that you get information at fingertips. You just log in, you just open your software or your website and then see that, okay, this is what the program the India office has done, or this is what the program the Bangladesh office has done. So it is like accessible at any point of time and anywhere and with multiple users at the same time. So, and looking at the tracking back of documents and origins, if you look at the manual way of getting data, if you look at the data being like gathered manually on a sheet of paper or filing up of forms, it is like kind of it's very difficult to see where the particular backup document is and who actually gave the information, unless and until there is someone who signs on the document. And when people go back and change the document or there is any editing being done, so this happens. It's a very difficult part in terms of a manual data collection. So digitalization helps on that. So when you have a digital data, people get into it, and when people edit it or people change it, we know who did it, and we can look at the responsibility or ownership of a particular data in that. And if you look at disaster recovery and backup, that again is it's a wonderful thing in terms of an advantage when our data is digitalized. So if you have a manual data, if there is an accidental fire or if anything happens, there are a lot of chances of your data being deleted. And if you look at a pandemic, recent pandemic, if you have a manual data, it's also difficult for you to even go to an office and get the data from the office. So if you look at digitalization of data, you can always get it on your mobile phone, or even just clicking at your simple link, and then you get all the data that you require. And overall, speaking about all this, it's like increases your overall productivity of your organization in terms of what you have done, how it improves your functionality, and how you are going to respond to your donors, and how you are going to do your best for your beneficiaries. So I'll just try to share one of our best practices that we do. Before that, I'll just try to bring up with you on this particular part of NGOs use online project management software. This is again a study done by the Global NGO Technology Report 2019. It says that 19% in Africa and 20% in Asia and 23% in Europe and 29% in North America use online project management softwares. So this is the data that we get. So we can still see that not much of software is being used in the NGO side, for which there are a lot of reasons, like it might be the cost, it might be the a network, or it might be the group that we are catering to. So let me just fastly take you through on our the best practice of international justice mission. So there are different types of softwares that the IJM office uses. So, but I am trying to take you to this particular one called the CTMS. It's also called the Casework Tracking Management System. This being a fundamental and the core of our work that we do. So I'm not going to take you through the whole process of what a CTMS is, because that itself will take a complete day or a 2 day for you to go through it. I'll just tell you how this particular software is useful for us in terms of our data collection and in terms of how we monitor our program. So to just give a small brief about this is a software that we use to bring in every case that we work with. IJM, as I said before, we work with bonded labor cases. So basically what happens is when we get a hint of a case, we start a case with a regular registration into the site. The moment a case is approved, we get into the registration process, and then it goes through different process where all the process is being captured in this particular software, and people can get to this particular software and get the details of the particular case at any point of time. Roughly, we will have around more than like 5,000 to 6,000 cases that we have been done over a period of time. And all the cases will be there at any point of time. You go to the search and give the particular case number or case name, and you get all the details of a particular case that has been handled by a staff who would have left long back, who would have left the organization like maybe long back, and then still you have all the information on the particular software which has been done in terms of the particular case. So, for example, if you look at, I'll just take you through three different aspects of our the casework tracking management system. So, as I said, the approval part of the case happens on the system, and then there's no confusion on it, and it's there on the record who approves it and when it happens, what is the date and what is the time, and what kind of a case it is. And we also have all the case details. We'll have the contacts of each and every person, the government officials whom we have met, the legal perspectives, the RCs, release certificates, the FIRs that has been filed, the FIR copies will be there on that, and every aspect of the particular case will be there in that. The people who have been rescued from bonded labor, their contact details, their information, and what are all the rehabilitations that the government has provided to them is being keyed into the software. And then the case updates. So as I said, a case might go through a lot of several processes. Like if a particular case has been happened in 2019, the case might come into a judgment phase in 2020 or 2021. So this particular case may go through a judgment, and then it goes through a lot of different legal perspectives. So the team, what they do is they key in all this information into this particular software, and then you get all the information at any point of time. So then we also use something called a ONA tool. It's a stakeholder performance tool. As I said before, we work with different stakeholders. We have partners working from other CSOs. We have government stakeholders. We have stakeholders from associations, and we have legal partners with whom we work. We have prosecutors who do our programs. So if you look at our stakeholder data, we get data from the team immediately as and when they do a case. So they this also helps us in terms of measuring their performance. For example, if there is a particular government official, we call them as district administration officers. So when they be part of a case and they go through the case related informations and they help us out in the rescue. So what happens is we try to find out how they perform in a particular case, so that we'll be able to know like where we lack in terms of a particular case being like it might not be a successful case. Then we need to see whether there is a problem of capacity building with a particular DA official, or is there an attitude issue with a particular government official, or is it something else. So this kind of a tool helps us to go through the performance issues, and also helps us to see where we are doing good and where we have to improve ourselves. So as I said, like we also use the information from these softwares in terms of our reporting. So the main source of our information comes from the CTMS and the stakeholder performance tools. So both this being digital gives us a very good experience in terms of getting more information and more data, and at a very short span of time. So there are donor specific reports which all of our NGOs do, and there are quarterly progress reviews which we do, and there are monitoring and evaluation standards that we need to follow. So if you look at these two softwares or the applications that we use, helps us a lot in terms of collection of data, in terms of using the reports for our quarterly progress report, or even for the monitoring and evaluation aspect. So so this is what it is about our CTMS tracking system. So what I would like to tell as a suggestion, or kind of new methods when NGOs are trying new methods of digitalization, is whatever we do, we choose your mode wisely. So consider literacy of your population and cost per method. So when you're going through a software, there are a lot of costs that involves, and it depends upon the management of the particular tool in terms of the maintenance of the tool and all this. So when you are looking at your particular work or field of work, then consider this very wisely. And also, if you are looking at a particular group that doesn't have much of an internet facility, I would always recommend you go through simple aspects like SMS and calling IVRs. And you can also use WhatsApp audio recording. So previously, when I was hearing about the surveys and researchers that was being mentioned in this webinar, so most of our researches happens in terms of like when we meet people face to face. but this pandemic had always been a challenge to meet people. So I would suggest that a simple SMS or a phone call or even a WhatsApp audio recording can help us to do a focus group discussion. And I will also like to suggest free platforms like Google Forms or Survey Monkeys. And there are some free mobile apps like Enkito or Ona or Kobo Toolbox and TeamScopes. So these helps our NGOs to do some simple studies or researches or even to collect data or even to do a monthly reporting strategies for your own teams. So this is what I would like to share. So this is a simple thing that we are doing with the International Justice Mission. I hope this would have been useful to you, and thank you. If you have any questions, you can get back to us.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Ezekiel, for this
Thank you.
presentation. We'll take up, definitely, there will be some questions. We'll take it up after the presentations. And now I hand over the session to Dr. Senthil from Helix. Over to
Yeah,
you.
Thank you.
Dr. Emmanuel, thank you very much. I've been very happy to be part of Kumaraguru. It's been a long association. Thanks you. Let me I work with children with specific learning disability. So my area of focus is, although it's very limited, but this pandemic has really opened a challenges that we started encountering. Luckily, since we were in the forefront in looking at technology, first thing I would thank Microsoft. The reason Helix Open School, in the open school category, we are the only school in India to be accredited by Microsoft. So this happened 3 years before, because remote sensing and remote learning is going to be an order of the day. So that's why I initiated the LMS process even 5 years before, when I started working with Mangalore Chemicals. So in the training area, we started using the LMS 10 years before. Moodle was the one of the aspects that we were starting it but when we associated with Microsoft India, thanks that the tools that's been given free of cost, as rightly said by the previous speaker, for NGOs, the major concern would be investing on the software. Thanks. I had my own student who studied in my school, now takes care of the IT head. He's the IT head. He's also the Microsoft innovator. We started creating our own platform, so to make it very, very simple. So all the registration from the registration process, even the student need not to come to our place. This started happening even 5 years before. They need not to come to our place. They can just go to the website. They can source the information. They can get registered there. From there, all the modules, the learning modules will be sent to them. Even it will be in the form of app. And of course, on the HR area, we have tied up with Talbram. That's a company which in Gujarat, who are sponsoring us and who have come forward to help us in the HR area, right from the recruitment of support staff to the teachers, and then the performance management system. All these things are taken care by Talbram. The other aspect is our own homegrown solution with the help of Microsoft India. We have come out with Team is which what we are operating at present. Apart from that, all the other aspects are done customized by our own team. So this pandemic, we were completely ready with facing this, because almost 3 years before, since we started working on the digitalization, as rightly said, the challenges is always on the network and other areas. Okay, that's going to be part of it, that you don't have that control in your hand, but the accessibility was made simple. So that's the reason, even that today most of the government school children are really facing challenges when it comes to the regular mode of study. Whereas with disability children, it's still on the higher side. They cannot sit in one place, or due to their hyperactive, all the reasons, their education is on a challenge. Now, this is where we started working on it, and we have the systems in place. As rightly said by the previous speaker, there are a lot of apps which is freely available, or you can make your own customization. It's the inclination. Say, I'm not a technology person, but what I started did was interacting with people, started roping in the best available free sources that we have now, started implementing. So today I can say that our school really functions completely on digital. Nobody comes, although we cannot come to school, but still we are able to reach out to children even in the remote areas. We have with the remote areas, those children who don't have, we have a shadow teacher. Okay, we are working with a shadow teacher who they can have a accessibility, and through that we are reaching out. And of course, thanks to the systems and the free availability of the software, this pandemic, I would say, was a biggest opportunity for us, since we were ready with all our systems placed. So we could reach out to Tanzania in helping those children, UAE, Sri Lanka, so even Japan and Australia. We think many times the developed country have all the systems placed when it comes to helping people. No, actually, it was not the case. Like, so this is what I just found out from this pandemic, when we were ready with all the small things. See, many people haven't tried the basic tools which are available, which I'm sure like we can try out, and we can start working on ourselves rather than looking at into the cost factor of it. Like, so this is what I would like to say today. All the material is available, which is free of cost. Anyone can access and do it, not even coming to school. Like, so maybe tomorrow the concept of school might be in a threat. Like, that's what I personally feel after the pandemic. Like, many children have started taking a decision. Sir, we feel this is quite interesting because we have lot of support system is available. Maybe one challenge is social interaction. Of course, that's going to be that. But children who are able to take care of the other part of the skill aspect of it, they are utilizing it. See, we have tied up with an organization called Skill Angels. Those people are coming out with free concepts, like, because everything has been digitalized now. For children, whenever you ask for even a small thing, if you want to work on the concentration, if you want to really work or focus on certain things, where children with ADHD will have a severe challenges, and parents cannot really address that. Like, but this particular tool, if you just work for half an hour, it's a tremendous tool that just working for an half an hour, it's a play like material. It's given free of cost, but unfortunate nobody knows this. Like, so there are people who have done a lot of work on it. What we have done is we have taken the best practices and we have just integrated it, and for that we had the systems placed, the basic systems placed. So this is what I would like to say. So money is not a big factor, unless otherwise, if you are able to collaborate with people properly and if you have a basic structure, is more than enough. Thank you, Emmanuel.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your thoughts.
The world record, I think I missed it. Yeah.
Definitely, you got to tell me something about
Yeah.
that.
See, friends, like I'm attempting the second world record now. I think I will seek the help of Kumaraguru social work students. It's mainly keeping the social work students in mind. What I have done, the world record is, it's a continuous world marathon in a soft skill training program by a team of 32 people. We did this marathon workshop in a webinar for 59 hours and 30 minutes non-stop, not even a single break. With a, you know, the difficulty of the Zoom app and all the other apps, like even half an hour we might get into the trouble of technology glitches. But we sought to that such a meticulous plan. It was 59 hours 30 minutes. The 32 people participated, and without a single incident glitches, we made that world record. That's the first world record in the webinar by a team of people who that. Then I'm coming back in the January. I'm talking with a lot of social work students. So I wanted to do a record for the social work students on the school area, like, because my PhD is all about school social work. So to bring in the awareness on school social work, we need around 50 students. Sorry, 75 students to break the record. 75 students, 1 hour each student, so that it will become the world longest marathon by a social work student. So I think I will come back to you. This is something interesting to reach out to many parts of the new places which we were not able to reach. So that's thanks to the pandemic, which gave an opportunity for us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for
Thank
your thoughts, and hats off to you for your world record. And looking forward for that event on January. We'll definitely
you.
talk about it.
Sure,
And
sure, sir.
yeah, now I would like to invite Shekhar sir from UDIS. Shekharan sir, over to you.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir. We can hear you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I want to share my PPT. Is it possible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So once again, good afternoon, all. Sir, can you hear me, sir? My camera is not working right now.
Sir, you are visible and also your voice is audible, sir.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So thanks to all for giving a very good opportunity. So just I want to explain a few hints of our organization, what we are doing. So mainly, as you said by Mr. Emmanuel, we are doing services for the persons with the disabilities, particularly for the girls with the visual impairment. So around over 8 slides I have, just I will make it as a hints of the organization. So our organization is Forum, which is providing services without the establishing institution. This is not an institution. It works as a network concept. It works in collaboration with various organizations. We are working for the benefit of the persons with disabilities. So this is a network of parents of persons with disabilities, professional and volunteer organization for facilitating employment of persons with disabilities. This is our network concept. So based on that, the organization previously it was as an UDIS forum founded by Dr. Emmanuel. Later it was converted as a disabled people's organization. So totally it is run by our disabled people. The board members are visually impaired from locomotor, 6 parents are mentally retarded. So those are our board members. So those are making all decisions and policies for executing this program and other things. So these are the slide shows that national partners of earlier I said that we do services on the basis of network. So we have many agencies, government agencies, industries, universities and colleges, NGOs, DPOs and PWDs, parents, forum, community. So those are our partners to implement our programs. Specifically, we have many programs in our organization. So recently, we are promoting the pursuance of higher education among the girls with the visual impairment. For that, we exhibit this program in southern states and Maharashtra. So before the pandemic, we went there and we conducted a program in physical structure. So after that pandemic, so we found that the virtual events we conducted. Based on that, what are the programs we conducted? What are the advantages and limits? So we experienced that. I will make a small things for all our conferences. So this our first program and workshop on the importance of higher education for girls with visual impairment in Telangana state. So the other program is training in use of computer and other assistive devices for girls with visual impairment in Andhra and Maharashtra. So then the other thing is the awareness about reproductive health care for women with visual impairment in Kerala. And the training in life skills development for girls with visual impairment in Maharashtra. See, the awareness on the rights of persons with disabilities Act 2016, and there are many programs. So each state we have a program facilitating agency. Those people, they will organize, they will collect the data regarding to the beneficiaries. So with those help, those support, we conduct program through the Zoom Meet or Google Meet. So based on that, this is one of the screenshot just I am showing here. So one of the resource person we invited, the Vignesh Balaji, who is a very good information technology trainer. So who is that time he was introduced as the resource person for the program. And these are some of the advantages, slightly important. It reduces the incurring cost as compared with the physical program. So earlier we went there wherever we want. So in each state we visit there and we invite all the beneficiaries in association with the help of the facilitating agency and we conduct program. It will cost around 1 lakh to 1.5 lakhs. So when we conduct this program through this virtual event as a virtual event, so we have only the little, around 60, 40 to 50,000 expenses only to occur. So the second point is enhancing the professional skills in usage of technologies in the techniques. So mainly the technology is most important for the blind people, particularly girls with visual impairment. So for them, it's a great chance to improve their skills, professional skills. So that will be helpful for when they are going for employment. That will be very grateful for them. And it avoids travel hurdles and obstacles. So then they don't want travel. They can sit in their home itself or hostel itself, and wherever they want, they can sit and they can listen. The thing is, participating along with the family members. This is most important key point that along with the parents also learning from the what are the inputs, what are the things we are giving. So they are also learning and they are teaching their children. And facilitates to invite professionals or person with blindness. So this is a very good impact created through this program because whatever the information through the professionals of blind people, they very affinity formed and they have very good interaction with those people and they had a very good interaction with the resource person. Whatever without any fear, so they clarified all the things whatever they were. And the limitations I have given, those who are trained in usage of information technology would take part in that virtual event, others are left behind. This is the some of the limitations just for the reference I have given. So internet access sometimes makes a little inconvenient and disturbance while attending the virtual class. So this also some little obstacle. And the internet access sometimes makes a little inconvenient because so some area they can get regular the signal. Sometimes it makes some small problem. So these are the things that just I want to highlight through our experiences. So any more discussion, any clarification that I will give you. Thank you, sir. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah. Thank you, Shekaran, sir. Thank you for your presentation. And without further delay, we will move towards the Q&A session. And please put in your questions in the chat box. We will definitely take those questions. And if you wanted to ask questions, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask the questions. Okay, so we have one question to Senthil, sir. Okay, so this is by Dr. Preeta from class. Sir, which platform did you use for the first marathon? Which platform did you use, sir?
Everybody would be surprised when I say that it's a Zoom. Zoom only have we used. And many ask the question whether we can do it with Zoom, and especially in the month of May. Please understand, the May and our record happened in June, and we started preparing it from the month of May. Like 32 people, and it was 64 hours. We planned it for 64 hours, but unfortunately, due to because you know that in Zoom, after 24 hours, automatically it will get disconnected. Then we have to again re-log in. Like, so during those time, we lost some time, and because of other technical glitches, we lost around 2 hours and 30 minutes. So Zoom was the platform. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. So the next question is to Mr. Ezekiel from IJM. How user friendly are all these softwares which you are using? Could you please share about that, sir?
Yes, yeah. So, yeah, of course, when we look at our softwares and apps, so most of them are definitely needs a type of a limited training that is required for all the apps and softwares. It is not very difficult in terms of like thinking about like if you look at Python or any corporate like use of softwares. But when it comes to development sector, it depends upon the need that we have. So basically, if I was talking about the software that we use called the CTMS, it's more kind of customized to the need of our particular organization. So basically, when they develop your software, they ask you what is your need and what is the particular area that you want to look at in terms of getting data or in terms of having your information stored. So I would say that it's not very tough, but it might require a little bit of training and handholding in the initial stages. And I also have tried in terms of our apps when we were with a different kind of an organization. The apps and softwares were also used by a grassroots level organization. So it's all in terms of how we train them and how simple we keep it. Yeah, hope I answered that.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Just another question, since you're dealing with bonded laborers, that I'm sure that you will be also giving, not your organization will be into counseling as well, because when you rescue, now, especially now, do you have any examples or something like that where you were able to help bonded laborers, or you were able to even counsel them from your organization? Any thoughts on that?
It is a wonderful question that I think one of our colleagues is also here. She handles the aftercare team. Her name is Prezi. I think she would be the best person to give an answer on this.
Yeah.
So Prezi, would you like to take this?
Yes, Ezekiel, thanks. Thanks for this question, Dr. Emmanuel. Yes, so we are in the aftercare team. So we had the lockdown for the month of March, and we also had new rescues at that time. So we couldn't go to the field as such, and we did connect to the over the phone calls. So we have field offices across India like Chennai, Odisha, Bangalore. So what we did was we converted that home visit into home calls and have that session. Usually we do have freedom trainings, but we couldn't go physically be there. So what our Chennai team did was a 40-minute session over the phone. One session was done by the lawyer. So, the other thing is we also need to check the phone reachability of the people living in that village. So that also, because bonded laborers, they are like from scheduled tribe people and they live in the interior village. So we also have to check with the connectivity. And one more thing, we had RPLA leaders, that is called Release Bond Labor Association, where the bond laborers who were released are part of an association. So they went to the community in terms of distributing the COVID thing. So we actually trained them. And so that was one step, like where leaders, victims who were survivors are become the champions. They went to the field. The other thing was mainly through the phone support. So the counseling, even it might be a counseling, or even we did an emotional inquiry project, a research project where we did collect data from 282 respondents of migrants and survivors of everything was phone. So we also checked that because some didn't have money to even recharge their phone. So that was another challenge. So whoever had that connectivity. So yeah, sometimes certain things are not like out of control. So whoever we were able to reach, we did that, and
Yeah.
we did count that service. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for answering that. You have another question. This is to the team IJM. How to eradicate child laborers in India? Any extreme measures? Maybe you can, see it from a digital approach. Anything?
So what I have in my mind, I'll say like one thing is even to make a policy or something like right now we need data. I think in our country, like prior importance has to be given to data. If data is there, accurate data is there. So I know like this session, this workshop is on digitalization of data. So I would say that if we would have had good data in hand, it would have informed the policy makers to make proper strategies or something. And because of this pandemic, actually, we are like 10 to 20 years behind of what the development we had made. We are running back actually. So we need to really push up. So probably we should have like good data in hand to come up with policies. But if Ezekiel has some points, he can tell that. Yeah.
Yeah. So just to tell based on the experience that I had, that was a very good question actually in terms of child labor. And though IGM doesn't directly work with child labor, but recently I've come across some digitalized versions of like kind of making people aware on child labor. If you look at the last 5 years or like 6 to 5 years, you will see like a lot of people are now talking about child labor. And if you also look at bonded labor, when initially when you go and talk to a government official, they say like, "What are you really crazy? Are you talking that really there is bonded labor still prevalent?" All that they would have seen is they would have seen in a movie that there is some sort of a bonded labor. And even child labor becomes so common nowadays that you just go to a hotel and then you see a boy working there, and it becomes so common. People have got used to that kind of a sight. So now the point is like, how do you eradicate that? So now when digitalization or even like media and visualization of the whole problem of child labor reaches the common man. So when they see a advertisement on child labor, or when they see a kind of a boarding on child labor, like billboards and other things, so they really get like, oh yeah, this is right. So my child is going to a school, and why not this particular child is not going to a school? So this kind of an awareness is being spread a lot now, right now. So I very well remember that yeah, World Vision is of course a very strong hold in terms of child labor. So I have been working with like with World Vision some time back. So I know what kind of initial work they did and how it is now. So now people have got enough of awareness on the child labor part. So I think yes, we are moving towards that a complete eradication of child labor, maybe in a couple of years, or it might take some more time. But I would say like, yeah, yes, we are going through on the right track. And situations like this, if you have to ask my experience, what I've seen in terms of data over the period of time during this last 6 months of pandemic time, there is an increase in child labor. There is a huge increase in child labor. We recently did a survey with the migrants, and we were really shocked to know that a lot of parents have started sending their children for an extra hand to get an income. So you can see like now the child becomes a very vulnerable person to get into a bonded labor or into a slavery thing. So people easily try to give some advance and take your child for work. So yes, it is like it changes at times, like situations like this. It has a lot of chance of increasing the prevalence also. So, but yes, so there are chances in terms of digitalization. It helps us to look at a positive way, but there are situations which also makes the child labor to grow faster at this time. Yeah.
Thank you, Ezekiel.
Dr. Emmanuel, just want to add to
Yes.
this, if you, yeah. So in terms of child labor, yes, all that Ezekiel and Tracy shared. I think it's about every individual coming to know about this, the policy that we have, the government on child labor. As Ezekiel said, I mean, many ways the empowerment and this information is gone and shared to people, but still, it needs to go, because each one of us have a role to play. Because when we see a young person working in a dhaba or in a hotel or anything, I think we have the right to go and ask them. That's something which our staff in World Vision and in many places, even myself, when I see someone on the road, working somewhere, you ask them the age, what age they are, so, and then you ensure. So I think that way, and then through the media, we need to really spread this message across very much. So I think every individual has a role, so that wherever we go, wherever we see that, we don't become insensitive to it, but we are sensitive. And again, as Tracy said, in terms of policy, I think evidence today matters a lot. Anything you say, you need to back it up with data and evidence. That's something that is, in today's, it has changed over the years, and it's very powerful. Data and evidence is powerful, and I think we need to constantly work on that and see how best we can still improve our situation. Yeah, thank you.
I think I can also like vouch to the previous speakers, like because my wife worked as a district child protection officer in Krishnagiri for 2 years, and after that, okay, then she resigned and she came back. But that 2 years, the kind of a sensitivity, and after that also, now it's almost 3 years. She is not in the thing. She has come back to my own organization. Even today, as rightly said, you have to take it up and you have to start talking about it. Like say, unless otherwise you own the responsibility, and you can't just say, okay, the app is also available. Okay, you can just take a photograph, you can get the details, and you can present to it. Okay, digitalization, yes, that's available already, but how many of us know these things, or how many of you have the courage to really take it up also? That's the attitude matters, like, more than not making others just an organization to work. It's a responsibility of each and everyone to take it. And regarding the counseling aspect, so with regard to children with disability, that today going to a psychologist for an assessment itself, it's again a challenge, because as we all know, the assessment takes a long time, and we have to break somewhere. Like, so this time, this opportunity, it was COVID has given a lot of opportunity to work on online assessments. Not online assessments means coming on a platform, sitting with the people around them, and we were able to do that also. Like, so assessments also, our conventional methodology sometimes has to move on, and we have to take those things consideration also should be there, that we were able to attempt. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Hi, hi, Dr. Sendil. I have one question. Am I
Yeah, ma'am.
audible? Yeah.
Yeah,
So in your talk also, and even now also, you have said that we are actually in the transforming stage, and the digital system may replace the physical system. So, so I think, do you think that is a as a positive transformation? Because you yourself mentioned that the social interaction will lose. But
see,
I think that's a like there is a huge problem. There's a lot of huge issues. Whatever when we see COVID as an opportunity, I think we need to look the other side also, how it really impacted the children who are sitting in the home.
no doubt about it. No,
Yeah. So I think
no doubt about it. See, it's always like we have not encountered such situation. So as per the situation only, we are just discussing about that. I don't recommend that everything has to be moving on to the online aspect of it, or but data is important, and that digitalization, let's not take it in a wrong way of doing everything online alone. Okay, data is something to collect and represent also to make a policy aspect of it. Naturally, children are affected, no doubt about it. More than 60 to 70% of the children are already are in the, when you consider the mental health status, the anxiety disorder is on the rise. So that survey also we have done, and we have found out, like because of the social interaction has been neglected, and particularly with regular children also, like leave about the disability children, that's a huge challenge. Particularly with the autism children, which we are working very closely, we are finding very difficult to handle the emotional aspect of the parent also and the child also. But considering the situation, I'm just taking up a case by case and considering the situation. This is the only medium that we can reach out to people and help them out. Otherwise, as rightly said, interaction is very important. So whatever the best possibility can be used, it can be used.
Thank you, sir. And yeah, this question is for Mr. Jeshuran. Okay, so Mr. Kamlesh is asking this question. Building children entrepreneurs Is it a right approach to address child laborers? What do you say for that, sir?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very good and difficult question also to answer. Yeah, but then I think every child has its own, potential and inner motivation to do. We see a lot of, young children studying much better above their age level also, finishing studies much earlier, and, a 15-year-old would have finished a graduation or something like that. Things are happening. But then, yeah, I think we, in terms of encouraging their creativity, skill, and desires, we should nurture that. Uh, uh, so I think we should provide that space and everything. In terms of legally, I'm not too sure on how and when they become an entrepreneur. Those things have to be taken care really without hindering their inner motivation, desires, and their what skills and potentials they can bring out in that journey of growing. Yeah, I think from I think it's all about space can be given. When it comes to entrepreneurs, where they fully start focusing on the money part alone, which before that's where I think we need to be careful about. Maybe others, anybody can add also.
Yeah, actually, the British Council, I worked with British Council in association with Volkswagen. Volkswagen had a project for children in school uh, to just ignite the thing on the entrepreneurship. And CBSE also has taken it. Like most of the CBSE schools are trying out. But again, when it comes to the legality, when it comes to India, yes, there is a lot of things need to be taken care. Otherwise, you can see many of our children who are 13 and who have are doing app and other things who are ready to do. Normally, they go to Singapore. Okay, they go to Singapore, they venture an organization there. From there, they operate. Okay, from India, you can't do it. Like still, you can't do it. That's the legality has to be there. Like somewhere, but nurturing on the entrepreneurship is very very important. See, like take it in case of children with disabilities, certain disability, yes, in spite of all the accommodations and all the things are being given to the student from the academic point, no, few of them may not go beyond 10th standard. Like in that case they might be very skillful, but where to start? Like that's where the occasional, maybe the new education policy, whether we are on with or we are not with it, that's a different thing. But the occasional support could be one area where if you start from 6th standard or so, a child might be ready at the age of 15 or 16 to think about certain things if he's not like he is not able to get through the certificate, formal certifications. Like so nothing wrong in making a child to be an entrepreneur or give that kind of sensitization. But legality, yes, in India we have to think. Otherwise, preparing them is not anything wrong at all.
Yeah. Thank
Yeah,
you.
just to add on to this. So yeah, so it is also the policy also talks about to prohibit the engagement of children in certain employments. Correct. And to regulate the conditions of work of children in certain other employments. So the government is also encouraging our entrepreneurship in terms of our children. So if you take if you take the situation of a child artist, maybe a particular child is acting in a movie. So you don't say that it's a child labor. So you have certain conditions for the child to exhibit its talent and showcase what he or she is about to do. And but you also have a regulation saying that okay, this particular child can do only certain activities or perform certain things, and then for a time period, and give a certain rest time for the child, and how safe the employment area is in terms of child protection and other areas. And if you look at the Western countries also, they also look at bringing up like skills or vocational trainings for children at a very young age. And I think yeah, it's absolutely fine, because when you as a parent look at your child exhibiting your skills and is entrepreneurial, as long as it doesn't affect your child and put him in a risk, then it is like what we have to consider.
So I can give you a classical example now I'm facing. The child is 14 years old, okay? But a slow learner, and he has given already 2-3 attempts in his public exam, and unfortunately we know that he is unable to move on. Like the parents is also convinced, like, so now they are asking, sir, what next now? Now what next means it should be skill based now. Now, when it's skill based, either we need to have a skill center for the children with the age group of 13, 14, and 15. I'm sure we are finding it very difficult either to convince, or we don't know whether the organizations are not there. So what we have done it, we have taken up as a school, open school, we have taken up the responsibility of keeping him here and working on the modalities what best can be done with the help of the parent. Because end of the day, the parent who's already having a job, or sorry, or a business, he has to go and support there only, like, because of the challenges. Now there are such challenges are there, but which has to be taken care, and some policies. Otherwise, like if they're 14 or 15, if a father is a fruit vendor or a seller, definitely a child can go and sit in the evening to learn about all those things. That's permitted. That is permitted. But whether on a full time learning a skill for which is eligible or not, again a big question is there. Like, so such challenges are still prevailing, but that's a prudently knowing, like as rightly said, for the theater and other things, when children are used, advertisement for children are used, like that there should be consideration here without breaking any other rules which is existing.
Yeah. So thank you, sir. And moving on to the next question. So this question is to Dr. Sendil. You were talking about outsourcing, and maybe could you throw some light on outsourcing? That's number one. Number two is outsourcing not expensive?
Sir, definitely outsourcing is not expensive. Why I'm saying, it's all the like-minded people that where you are working with. See, I work very closely with few organizations uh, where the youngsters have come together to help an organization, like to help an organization finding solutions most cost effective, otherwise zero cost effect. They come, they train you on a voluntary basis. So there are people, it's all that you have to. I have two people I can name. One is Arivarasan, who's a BTech guy from Anna University. He has volunteered any organization if you wanted. Then I have Zagir Hussain. Then we have Kishore. All these people are very young, like, but they are ready to help out if the time is given and the basic cost is given. Basic cost is a must. Like, otherwise, outsourcing is not costly. If you really go for a very professional pin, then it's all there. Like the mandatory aspect, very easy, sir. It's all that you have to find people. Like,
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to have such people, so I have outsourced.
Thank you, sir. And dear participants, if you have further more questions, you can feel free to put it in the chat, or you can open up your mics and ask questions. So it's open to you. Anybody, any questions? Okay, so I have a question. This is again to Dr. Sendil. I'm sorry, I'm not pulling your legs, but then a lot of things to ask and discuss. Today, we live in a world where, it's more of a student-centric learning. If a person is more interested, then he comes, uses a lot of resources, learns something, and he goes. What happens for a person who is not that interested? How do we digitally make them equipped equally like a person who's very much thirsty for knowledge?
Sir, first thing, yeah, as I told you, everything cannot be digitalized, one, or everything cannot be taken in that form. But once you have to give them the space, like, that's where we tried in Udumalapet. We tried for a year, like calling that space itself a space, where we try to give space to children where they can come for a month and try out whatever the things that they can do it. Like, it's only for a month. Like, after that they will be evaluated, and then we will handhold them when they go back home. Like, so these experiments were all done to find how far the children are showing their interest, especially on the multiple intelligence also we take into account. Once we understand the multiple intelligence part of it, I'm sure technology is available now. Technology is available as per their multiple intelligence. So
Okay.
this is how we were able to work with a child who was completely not interested at all in education, but he was very good in what farm, like rearing pet animals, like. So that's what the place that he was loving it. He had around an acre of land. So during this pandemic, we encouraged him through various the digital aspects that's been can be provided to him. You won't believe, he has started working with all the pet animals, and it's now turning it to be a business venture also, like. But he was not interested at all in the beginning. So looking at those aspects also really helps.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And yeah, if there are no further questions, any questions? Okay, so here's one more question from Raji. How long it needs to bring out Indian children for a better living? Okay, anybody?
My God.
Tricky question.
Better living is a it's again, what are the aspects that comes into better living? That's again the question, like,
Yeah,
if there is any spec, I don't know. I really don't. And what are the things involved there? So it's all, I sorry, I cannot answer that
yeah,
question.
that's okay. That's okay. I understand. Question is a
Yeah,
little big. Yeah,
Dr. Mal, just throw a little light on that question. Uh, yeah, see, a child, you need to look at the child holistically, as I said. Look at, right from her physical health, physical development, and then her education, and then look at her surroundings, her living condition, and then her parents matter, and then, the community around. So I think, so, so all these factors influence for a child to grow. If it's going to be only food or only clothing, yeah, yeah, that's a different thing. I mean, you can get a money from somewhere, build a good house, and then give some clothing. That should be, enough. So I think if we want to make them as good citizens, after till a child becomes an adult and ensures becomes studies well and becomes sustainable, there are several factors, that needs to be considered. So I think it's a very context based, and every child, it depends on the family, it depends on the economic condition, depends on various factors. So the time frame for a child, depends on that. That's something that I want to, yeah.
yeah. Thank you, sir. Couple of years back, I was working on a model, on a quality of life for children model, where there are 5 dimensions that I suggested. One was personal life, social life, family life, educational life, and your religious life. So these are the 5 dimensions. Now trying to validate that itself is trying to not work out. Couple of more dimensions to be added. So it keeps changing as scenarios change, as years change or whatever it is. So thank you so much. And so I truly believe that we had a very good interaction post lunch, talking about digitalization. Many NGOs, especially IJM, Helix, and UDIS, and also World Vision, sharing their best practices. And it was indeed a great learning session for me. And I believe that it would have been so for each and every participant who's been there. And especially, I was really impressed by the way how the workshop started from the morning, sharing a lot of things. And also, this particular thing I really liked. I don't know how many organizations really make use of the social media, which is free of cost. So that is number one. And number two, what I understood out of this particular best practice session is, it is always good to be prepared, well prepared. Many organizations who were all prepared, were able to handle were able to handle this particular scenario very smoothly. Also, they had a very smooth transition from working from manual to going digital. So that is what is the learning. Perhaps World Vision, IJM, and Helix, and UDIS for that matter, have explained how it was and how to be prepared. We don't know. Today we live in a world where we come across a lot of uncertainties. So which means that we'll have to be well prepared in order to face. Today it is COVID. Tomorrow it can be something else. So it is all about how well prepared are we in handling things. So we talk about disaster preparedness in disaster management. So which means here we'll have to equip ourselves. There is a thing like we cannot keep telling that I'm not a tech savvy, I'm not a tech savvy, so it's not my area. No. So today it's a part and parcel of all the professions. I'm a teacher. I still have to be a little tech savvy to bring out the best out of my teaching to my students. So it's the case with NGOs as well. So yeah, I would like to sum it up this way, that it's always good to be prepared, so that we'll be always people who can give us the best for the community, and we can keep going on and on in our service without having a pause or a full stop. Yeah. So I would like to end this session here, and I wanted to pass it on to Mr. Jeshuran for a few words. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Emmanuel, for this wonderful opportunity. It's been a great privilege for World Vision to share, our journey, which can really help all of them, all of you guys, in different ways. Just a few things. I think all of them, as I was hearing presentation from Ezekiel, Dr. Sendel, and Mr. Sekar, one thing that is cutting across is whether big NGO or a small NGO, data and evidence is becoming very, very important. And I think for data and evidence to happen without, digitalization, I think data is not possible. So that becomes very, very critical, even to not just to grow as an NGO. Yes, it helps in growing, but also to be effective. Today evidence matters a lot. And then the second thing is about the speed, or the processes. Today we are able to cut across geographic locations, distance, and time, and everything today. And in an NGO sector, that is also very, very important. We are able to reach the farthest, the remotest, to get data or to communicate data. With all the mobiles that have almost reaching every person's hand, in some way, a small way, they are able to ring, or they are able to access the television or some mode of communication. I think that's where our digitalization is really helping very much in limiting the processes, and giving us more time to spend with people, and making our effectiveness thing. And also in the context of visibility, and to empower. I think Mr. Segar beautifully said how digitalization is used for training. Today, if you ask us in World Vision, during this COVID time, we really use the digitalization to have trainings, webinars, and even programs like this, online trainings. And, it's been a new flood of events that we were able to do during this time. And so even in the community to empower, I think considering the distance and time, and, you want to empower them today with the mobiles in hand, and children getting used to, even studying through mobiles and various forms of digitalization. I think that's a very good platform to empower people also. Irrespective of, we save a lot of time, and even in the long run, the resources. And not to mention, I think this morning we heard enough about fundraising and donor management, how we can be effective. I think it's a good beginning and a way forward to start. We need to constantly, it's evolving also, digitalization. And if we are in smaller NGOs, we need to start somewhere. I think whether we like it or not, we need to get engaged and see in our own context, with the limitation of our reach. And depending on that, we make the right choices of, digitalization. Today we have free things, we have low cost things, and I think as we interact and meet with people, we can customize anything to meet the needs of our community. Thank you, Dr. Emmanuel. I think that's been really useful.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. And
Online internal internship also happening.
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Our students are also into this online or virtual field work and things
Yeah,
like that.
almost many of them. That's a good thing.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. So I pass it on to Kamalesh, um, or I pass it on to the MC to take it further.
So thank you everyone for your valuable thoughts and ideas. Now I request our ever motivating and resourceful Dr. Shanti ma'am, Vice Principal, Kumaraguru College of Liberal Arts and Science for concluding remarks.
Thank you, Megha. Hope I'm audible. Good afternoon, all. Good evening. Namaskaram, to everyone who has come in here. It was such a wonderful day, fantastic day of coming together. So much of learning, the best practices. I couldn't really, put it into any bucket. Should I call it as a, best practice session? But it was, taking the form of a panel discussion. Thoughts were flowing. So much was happening, right through the day. On behalf of Kumaraguru College, on behalf of the Social Work Department, let me say my thanks to everyone here in the World Vision team in particular. Uh, Mr. Christopher, so the very first mail was written to Mr. Christopher. Very readily he accepted. The very next day we got a response from him saying, we'll be more than glad to be there, take part in this and be the knowledge partner. Thank you so much, sir, Mr. Christopher. I extend my thanks to Mr. Jeshran, Mr. Joshua, and also Ms. Sheilin, right? When the sessions were happening, in fact, it was like, oh my God, what's really happening here? Because most of my experience or, the years of work that I have been doing predominantly is from the IT sector. And I really did have some, years with the media as well. But while in technology, I used to be a, kind of a people person. And always I used to think, where can all these technologies fit in? Because belonging to the IT sector, it's always about a banking application, right? Retail store, giving you dozens of dresses, putting it on you virtually, looking at, what fits you best. So it's those kind of applications that predominantly, drives the business, right? And every time I used to think, how can this help? Okay, we are talking about data analytics. We are doing lots of machine learning algorithms. So where exactly could this fit? In case I will have to take it to the society. So there used to be lots of thoughts, and now attending the day's session here, it was the other way, right? So now you all seem to be already so well versed with technology, particularly when I was listening to Ms. Shirin Joshua. I actually went to the LinkedIn to look at who they are. So I did do that, and I could see that the kind of the passionate work they have done, and also the kind of technical expertise that these people have built over the years. And I could very well relate to why those sessions were so powerful. Thank you so much. Thanks for bringing up all those topics. It really makes so much sense to look at data, because every data project, if you look at it, almost 70% goes off in getting the right data, managing it, standardizing it, and only the 30% really gets into the algorithm building. So that's the kind of effort that actually happens with data. So you touched upon data, then you spoke about how do you have a nice website with all the social features embedded. So lots of interesting things, lots of technical capabilities and features. It was brought out. Wonderful sessions, sir. The World Vision team. Kudos, appreciation, and thank you so much. Please extend our thanks on behalf of our teams back to your teams. We'll definitely look forward to more of collaboration with you. And my special thanks to each and every NGO who have come today, accepting our invite. In fact, few could have been, even in a short notice, but you all made it today. My thanks to IJM, Dr. Ezekiel, Helix, Dr. Sendil, and the UDIS Forum, Mr. Shekhar. Wonderful, discussions. Dr. Sendil, hope to join your marathon next time. So we'll definitely be part of your marathon. It's a wonderful, effort. Definitely would like to join hands with you. Mr. Shekhar, thank you so much. Wonderful insights you again brought to the table. It was a big learning. Mr. Ezekiel, it's so nice. And in fact, I shouldn't call it as nice. It's very important that we all understand and, look at what's happening in the society, most of us as professionals, we're all glued to, whatever we do. Maybe 9 to 5 jobs and things like that. But so much is happening out in the world, and you've taken so much pain and efforts to kind of streamline, look into that. Hats off, thanks to you, thanks to each of the NGOs who came and presented your best practices. Wonderful, thank you so much, and I hope all the participants were able to learn today. Every NGO who's here, in fact, I wouldn't know much of you, but the MSW team out here might have had, in interactions with you. But we definitely look forward to organizing more of such sessions. And also, I'd like to leave one other thought here. As you know, the MSW, department is growing. Kumaraguru School of Social Work is, of course, growing, and the next batch is coming in. They're just entering, and we're also looking forward to having on board very energetic, passionate students whom you could point to. Right, we have a good rigorous selection process going on, but I would definitely like to extend my request here. If there are candidates whom you think might be a good fit for the MSW program here, kindly do pass on this information. The admissions are on. You can always ask them to get in touch with Dr. Kalpana, Dr. Emmanuel. The reason is we definitely want to see very passionate students, not just people who want to earn their PG degree, but people whom you think would be a great fit for the MSW programs. So that is one personal request from my side. Thanks to the management of Kumaraguru, who readily accepted and said, let's do it. When we went with the proposal, and also when Dr. Emmanuel suggested this topic, it was so apt, and particularly for this times. So we thought we'll do it, and we went to the management. They gave a very ready approval. Thanks to them and the entire faculty team here, and the students in particular who really worked hard over the last fortnight or so to make this happen. Thank you so much, and let's all stay connected. Look forward to more of such collaborative programs. Thank you so much. Over to you, Megha. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I request our new faculty, Dr. Preeta, who is more onto community development and guiding us in the research endurance, for giving us a detailed upload survey.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. So, as Jeshurun sir rightly mentioned, this is just a beginning. This is a good beginning, and for us, this is just a beginning. So, we, as I mentioned earlier, we are planning to take this topic, the digitalization of NGOs, forward, and looking to work with interested collaborators, NGOs, and other CSR organizations for any kind of capacity building, training, or research work. So as a part of that, we just initiated a mini survey, which has shared, the link has shared in the chat box. So please find time to fill that survey. It's about to understand the digitalization of your organization and the status you are now and the challenges you are facing. So with that information, we may able to process and to understand the kind of the issues many NGOs are facing, and also where the many of the organizations are standing in terms of digitalization. So with those information, we'll be able to take up this program of NGO Meet into a next step, and we'll be able to, as I mentioned, we'll be able to collaborate with you for further activities. So please, even after the if it is after the meet also, please find time to fill the survey and get back to us for any query, and hope to see you all in another program. Thank you. Over to Megha.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I request our young and energetic Mr. Praveen Varghese Thomas, new faculty of Kumaraguru College of Liberal Arts and Science, for rendering vote of thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Megha. Instead of giving a vote of thanks or something, I would love to make a farewell statement, because already Shanti ma'am has beautifully narrated what we feel for you all. I mean, and the entire group here. So it is not necessary to render the vote of thanks, but then a farewell note, which is more suitable at this juncture, I believe. What I mean by a farewell note is nothing but hand holding together, because I can see a group of social change makers, people who are concerned about social impact, people who talk about technology as emotion. We are coming together and we are looking forward to make some change in this world by our own means. So that means we need to handhold together. It is not a full stop here. This NGO meet is not for certificates, or it is not to just a deliberation. We need to handhold together. We really love the way how World Vision has put it very nicely, the deliberations after that. And these things make me really charged up as a faculty, as a learner. I am really thrilled. I believe that our students are also really thrilled, equally with our department. So this is a juncture where we love to handhold together. It's just a statement to all of you to be with us, to learn together, and let us make the world even more better. So that's all from my side, and thanks and love and respect from School of Social Work, Kumaraguru College of Liberal Arts and Science. As I told, this is a beautiful bunch, and we are talking more about technology as emotion, as we have learned sadness, as we have learned to cry, as we have learned to smile. We also have to learn use technology as one of our powerful emotions. Maybe thinking more about our coming generation, maybe thinking more to clearly document our whatever social impact we have created, or maybe to work even more better than what we are doing now. So thank you each one of you for your valuable presence. We would love to honor you with an e-certificate, which will be given to you after filling a submission form, a feedback submission form, and it will be there in your email ID within few minutes. So if you submit, if you go through the Google form which we are trying to give you, please go through it, fill it. You might have 1 or 2 minutes to fill it, and then you'll probably be honored with an e-certificate. And that's not the end. We have still more. School of Social Work College. Thank you so much. Over to Megha.
Thank you, sir, and thank you everybody for this wonderful session.
Thank you all. Thanks for joining.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you, Jasharan, sir, for all the support. I'll give you a call post meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was indeed a good feeling and
Thank
experience
you.
for all of us.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, sir. Bye. Bye, Praveen.
Praveen, sir, you're on mute. Mute.
So Emmanuel sir, well done. Well done.
All
It is
group
in
efforts,
team effort.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Good program. Feeling so good about the program.
Super. Successfully
All,
completed.
Yeah.
all our efforts. Team.
Okay. Take care.
Yes.
Bye.
Tomorrow's the meeting, right?
Yeah, we have a meeting on the model exam. Yeah, by 4.
Okay, so we wind up. Okay, so we are on YouTube live. Okay, so thank you for joining. It was indeed a great team effort. Okay, so looking forward for more programs like this. Praveen sir, Preeta ma'am, Kalpana ma'am, all. Thank you. Bye-bye.
And of course, Of course, one mentioning about our dear Kamlesh, Megha, Kausalya, Raghavi. So all good, and the entire team, all students. Thank you so much, students. Without you, this is nothing. We couldn't do anything. So that's a great from your side, and it is indeed a great success, all because of you people.
Yes, and also our heads, Shanti ma'am and Vijla ma'am, for that
Sure.
big support.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Bye. We'll see you later.
Bye.
See you,
Bye. See you later.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.